Welcome to my latest YouTube video. Today, I want to talk to you about a defensive strategy I created called worst case scenario. It was developed to help embolden frightened, nervous, apprehensive, recovering SLDs, recovering individuals with self-love deficit disorder or codependency, um, to embolden them to set boundaries with very difficult narcissists. In my 10-stage treatment program, especially in stage 4, I help my SLDs prepare for the backlash of getting healthy, the backlash of setting boundaries. I help them prepare for what I call the earthquake of setting boundaries in a hostile environment, which is actually stage 5. If you are to get to stage 5 and be successful with it and be able to set the boundaries in these hostile environments, you need to know how to protect yourself. You need to know how to protect yourself physically, emotionally, socially, spiritually, relationally. And the many techniques that I created, such as the last 2 YouTube videos I did, one on the 3-strike rule and the other on induced conversation. These videos are part of my stage 4 work, which is preparing for the very difficult moment in a person's life when you finally are ready to set those boundaries and deal with what I call the earthquake. If you're going to survive the narcissist reaction, you absolutely need to know the ins and outs of the narcissist personality disorder, the subtype of that personality disorder. For example, are they, do they have narcissistic personality disorder? Do they have borderline personality disorder? Do they have antisocial personality disorder? And if they have, for example, narcissistic personality disorder, are they a covert narcissist? Are they a malignant narcissist? And the different personality types, because to get through stage 5 and to survive, you have to engage them in a chess game and understand not only what they've done in order to win the game over and over and over again, but how they enticed you to lose it. The technique that I'm going to talk about today, which is called the worst case scenario strategy, requires you to imagine, formulate, describe, construct the absolute worst case scenario of setting a boundary with your pathological narcissist. Now, this might seem really negative and might kind of depress or scare some of you guys listening to this. But if you're going to take on the pathological narcissist and you are going to finally move into stage 5 and set those boundaries, and as I've explained with my Surgeon General warning, is that, the crap is going to hit the fan, and it is going to be the earthquake of earthquakes, and you're going to be involved in narcissistic injuries and projections and gaslighting and resistance and fighting and backstabbing that you've never experienced before. So if you're going to take on the pathological narcissist who has virtually ruined your life or is ruining your life, and you are imagining, because you're in therapy and you are working these 10 stages, and you want to get to stage 6, stage 7, and stage 8, which is the development of self-love abundance, which is pretty much the codependency cure, you have to be able to survive stage 5. If you can't imagine the worst case scenario and accept it as a possibility, and that scenario happens, it will blow you out of the water. It will disrupt your life so much. It will scare you, intimidate you, that you will back down and take 10 steps backwards in a journey that up to that point was maybe 12 steps. By constructing the worst case scenario honestly and accurately, you then will have to ask yourself, can I survive this? Will I be able to survive it? And if you say no, then you have to think about if you're ready to fight the narcissist and try to extricate yourself from the relationship. Or you have to then double down your psychological efforts, hopefully with a therapist. You have to then plan how you can modify your escape strategy, your boundary strategy, so that that worst case scenario is not only survivable, but maybe doesn't happen. So let me give you an example. If you are in a horribly abusive marriage with a narcissist and she triangulates the children against you, triangulates your best friends against you, gaslights or manipulates others to think that you are the bad guy. And if you know that to be true, one is because you're an SLD and you allowed it and or were manipulated into it, and this narcissist successfully was able to triangulate all these people against you to build these coalitions, these fake support systems that really are based upon lies and deceit. But if you can wrap your arms around it and you can say to yourself, the worst case scenario is I will lose half of my friends. The worst case scenario is my children won't talk to me for a week or two. The worst case scenario is he might scream at me and throw things at me or might hit me. You have to prepare for a realistic response to the boundary setting. The narcissist is going to react like you're taking away his oxygen or her oxygen and will do anything to keep alive, and I say this metaphorically, to keep in the relationship where they have all the power and control. They live for it. That they will do anything to maintain their false sense of grandiosity, entitlement, and power. And if you should set a boundary and say, I'm done with this, or you can't do this, you must expect the worst. And if you've done your homework and you've considered this technique and you've built an accurate worst case scenario, you and your therapist or you will not only know exactly what he or she will do ahead of time, you will have devised a strategy around that. Because everyone knows, especially if you're a war historian, that battles are won by surprising the enemy. And if you, as an SLD, believe that you have no power to survive the onslaught of the narcissist attack, the narcissistic injury, you will back down like you always do. You will retreat, and the gaslighting message that has been inculcated in you that you are powerless, weak, and whenever you try to get out of the pain and the agony, it is the situations are worsened. But by developing beforehand an understanding of the worst case scenario and having it be accurate, you will have time to plan your way around it in a way that, one, you'll survive it, two is you'll mitigate it, three is you might be able to neutralize it, or four, you just might be able to ignore it. And that's where the observe, don't absorb technique comes in. So in summary, to survive narcissistic abuse, move forward and through my 10-stage self-love recovery program, which is available on a 6-hour seminar video at Self-Love Recovery Institute, you must use techniques that are specifically designed to protect you from not only narcissistic abuse, gaslighting, but the impact of the boundaries that you set to someone who has spent their whole lives crushing resistance. So be realistic, be courageous, get a piece of paper down and write down what is going to happen when you finally find your voice. What is going to happen when you set that boundary? What is going to happen when you serve her or him with divorce papers? And don't shy away from realistic details. Don't delude yourself with hopes and beliefs that maybe he or she will be reasonable, but we have to be realistic. Because with a realistic perception of the danger, we can come up with a realistic plan to survive it, which then move into my later stages of self-love recovery and experience self-love abundance, and eventually change the human magnet syndrome's magnetism, so that when you fall in love again, you are naturally inclined to be attracted to a healthy, self-loving person than a narcissist. Trust me on this. So I hope this video helped, and I wish you the very best. And I look forward to receiving emails and comments on this video about your own personal adventures towards self-love abundance. Bye-bye.